Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Foilheads.
Hi.
Today we have a really special guest, Christina Watford, everybody.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited.
This is my daughter-in-law, everybody. She is married to my son Quentin, and she is amazingly beautiful and talented
Aww.
and really smart. And it's funny when my son, once he got with her and realized he wanted to marry, he said, "You know, Mom," he said, "she's so much like you in so many ways." And I thought, oh wow, that's cool. And I didn't really get the chance to know you until recently, and now I see how much we have in common.
We have a lot in common, and I find that very flattering. I would like to be I like being like you. So
Oh, well.
I think that's very sweet. But yeah, we are very similar in like a lot of ways, but like I just love hanging out with you.
You're a better
and
version,
knowing
though. You're younger and more awesome. That's how it is, you know. We make better versions of ourselves, but they become more evolved and better, you know, like
Absolutely.
with your mom. But yeah.
Of course.
Anyway,
Great.
so Christina, once I started doing this show, she said, I would love to come on sometime. She said, because I started writing a book about the missing 411. And I said, oh my God, what is that? And she kind of briefed me on it and sent me a few videos. And I said, well, I'd love to have you on the show to talk about it. So I'm kind of gonna give it over to her and maybe ask some questions, but I'm gonna learn with you all today because I really don't know much about it. And Christina's writing a book about it, so I'm very excited about that for her as well. And I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so I would just like to start off with Missing 411 is currently its own book series by David Politis, a former police officer. His are very like factual based, and mine is a fiction based book, but it's based off of the phenomenon of Missing 411. So that's how that ties into there. I'm not gonna overwrite David Politis, but let's. So hello, we have a guest.
Sorry, Chi-Chi.
Oh, before we start, I want to give you something.
Okay. I love
So this
presents.
is from Quentin and I. You have a new friend.
Oh my God, he can stay on the show. He can be.
Yeah.
He can make little appearances all the time. Oh, don't fall off the
We
chair,
can put like
Chi-Chi.
little t-shirts on him and stuff, and put like a little foil head. It glows in the dark too.
Oh my God, I love it. Now we have to think of a really cool alien name for him.
I would love that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's great. I love
And
it.
you can hang him up. So
Oh yeah.
love it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
We're gonna hang him. Now I know how I can decorate those corners. I've been wanting to. This is awesome. I love it, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, bye, little
Cool.
buddy.
Well, yeah. We'll bring you back up. You'll come back later.
All right, so yeah, just to kind of talk about Missing 411 is a like I said, it's a book series, but it's also a phenomenon where people go missing in national parks across North America, and it's just there's a lot of similarities between these disappearances. So it's often sudden disappearances that occur within minutes, right in front of people, like right in front of witnesses, and there's no explanation on where they went. And then sometimes they're actually found, but still the explanations are just up in the air because there's no, we'll get into it, but there's very little evidence. They're usually found in very unexpected locations as well, which honestly this grabbed my attention years ago. So I've been looking into it for a long time, but we're going to go over 3 cases. The first one is going to be arguably the most famous, Baby Dior. That happened back in 2015. So it is very, that one's going to be the most recent case that we're going to talk about, but these things have been happening for a very long time. So,
Just one quick question, if you
Yeah.
don't mind. Is it just people that go missing in national parks, or is there other locations, or is it just national parks?
so far all the cases that David Politis has covered are all in national parks.
Oh, wow.
But I do find, I found some other cases that are not in David Politis's book series, so that are not in North America, but still have a lot of similarities or even weirder circumstances. So I do want to touch back on that later.
Okay.
But for this, it's he's only reported on ones I believe in North America national parks.
Okay.
And it's often near cave systems, which is also really weird. That's one of the similarities that I found very interesting and included in my book. So yeah, let's get started. So Baby Dior Kuntz Jr. He disappeared July 9th of 2015 from a campground he was at with his two parents, his grandfather, and a family friend. Whenever he disappeared, see if I can get this right. So they arrived at the campground on July 9th. The next day, on July 10th, is whenever he disappeared. Now, whenever they... Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just trying to remember. So let me just glance at this real quick. Oh, wait. So Dior was seen around the campsite. He was wearing these big cowboy boots, and there are mixed... there's like mixed stories on what he was doing at the time, but he's 2 years old, so he could be doing a lot of things at once. So they...
This is very true, yeah.
Like, they said, where was it? His mom said that he was, eating a snack, or he was by his grandfather, he was playing with his boots, he was playing in the dirt. So her story changed a little bit after this. But
Right.
let's say he was eating a snack, playing in the dirt, and he was by his grandfather all at the same time. And
Absolutely.
in each account, she just kind of remembered more and more details.
Sure.
So whenever people try to say there's a flaw in her story because of that, I think it's just trauma brain and trying to remember all the details at the same time.
Right.
So, but he, so whenever he disappeared, the parents were walking down to the river, the creek. They were at Timber Creek in Idaho, I believe. Timber Creek, let me see. Yeah, they were in Idaho. And can I restart the story and cut that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay, so this campsite is located 10 miles off of a very rural road. It takes at least 20-30 minutes going at your fastest to get down this road. So let's just keep that in mind. They had a very long trek out there. They were the only ones camping out there. And whenever he disappeared, little 2-year-old baby Dior was supposedly walking down with his parents to the creek. Whenever he turned around and walked back to the campsite, or the parents thought that he walked back and was with the grandfather, or they thought they originally left him with the grandfather. That was a different account. But basically, they came back after 5 to 15 minutes from the creek. They weren't sure, but whenever they got back, Dior was nowhere to be found. So they could not find...
Well, that sounds a little weird.
But it's more than they just couldn't find
if the kid
him.
was 2?
He's 2 years old. How
Yeah,
far?
I mean, usually he's got to be holding somebody's hand the entire time or right by him.
Being
I wouldn't
watched.
I would definitely know for sure if I had left him with the grandfather or if he was walking, and I don't think I would leave a kid behind me in a forest and walk ahead.
No,
That's
they
weird,
were
right?
only about a few yards from. They were about 15 yards or so from where the campsite was to where the creek was. So they just let him walk back. Is the main theory.
I don't know.
But it's more than he just disappeared. So it was it turned into a search of like hundreds of searchers. After about 20 minutes of not finding him, they called the police, and that took them a while to get out there because of how remote it is. But it turned into hundreds of searchers. It was a large scale, it was involving helicopters, canine teams, divers, ATVs, horseback teams, and hundreds of volunteers, and any of them failed to locate any trace of him. Dogs couldn't find a scent. People couldn't find clothing. The boots he was wearing were particularly big on him, so they would often fall off. So if he were being taken or moved really quickly, it would be more likely that his boot would have fallen off somewhere.
But they never found his boots or no?
No, they never found any part of
So he
him.
just kind of vanished.
So there's like a few different theories on like what happened to him whenever he vanished. So there's the investigator's perspective, and then there's the missing 411 perspective. But the investigators, I mean, they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any evidence on the parents doing this, on somebody being out there. They one of the biggest things to me is that the dogs couldn't find a scent.
Oh, wow.
They can find scents through water, through snow, through
That's
rain,
crazy.
and there was no weather like that in between that could have washed away the scent. So
And there's so he's not the only one. There's a bunch of other different people
There's
that
a
have gone out there
bunch.
and just been
there's
missing.
a bunch.
Have any of the people ever been found again?
Yes. So we're going to talk about that as our third case. Because I want to talk about the similarities of this one and the next one we're going to talk about. But to wrap up Baby Dior, his parents were found innocent. They had nothing to do with his disappearance. He truly just vanished. And the police have no idea what happened to him. So that is just something that I find highly interesting. Like, one more thing, if a 2-year-old is taken or leaves or something, if it's being taken, wouldn't it scream? Wouldn't they scream?
You would think so, unless
you hear
whatever took it
you
immediately.
Hear something.
You know, it's only if it's something that small, it wouldn't be hard to cover their mouth.
I guess, but
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, that's pretty crazy stuff.
And where the missing 411 comes in is that this was a sudden disappearance. It was a large-scale effort to find it. There was no evidence, and he was never found. And it was in a national park. It's just, so that's the first one that's probably the most famous. And then I'm going to go over Dennis Martin's case real quick, because it is very similar, so we just have to throw in a little bit. But Dennis Martin was 6-year-old. He disappeared on June 14th of 1969. It was during Father's Day camping trip, so once again a camping trip out in a rural area. This one was in the Great Smoky Mountains. So he's never been found. There were multiple nearby witnesses. Basically, he was playing hide and seek, and he ran behind a patch of bush, and his parents were watching him. They expected him to reappear at any moment, but he never did. But they never heard a sound. They never found evidence of anything. They never found where he went. The dogs never had a scent. Once again,
Wow.
So it was just, they had National Guard out there. They had the Green Berets out there. They had thousands of searchers. It was the biggest search up until 1969, the largest search ever launched in national parks in America.
Wow.
And they never found anything.
So, what is the missing 411 theory?
Basically, it just, missing 411 kind of follows what the similarities are, and then you kind of draw your conclusion of what you think it might be.
Okay.
But it just, he goes through like all the facts of what, of what compares to each case, and just like there are differences, but there are so many similarities, not just people disappearing and it being sudden, but a lot of them are either too young to remember, or if they're adults, they often have some kind of a handicap or a genetic deficiency. Like being, they might be deaf, they might be blind, they might be
They have that, you're saying? The people that are missing all seem to have something like that?
So these cases don't, but
okay.
There are a lot that do.
I see. Okay.
So that's just one similarity in it that's often common. But these cases don't actually do that. But like I said, Dennis Martin was just playing hide and seek, and then went behind a bush, disappeared, and there was one account of a witness. So a search volunteer, very shortly after he disappeared, she said, and I quote, William Edmonds later claimed he heard a scream. Oh, it's a he.
Okay.
He heard a scream and observed a rough-looking man carrying something over his shoulder several miles from the search area. The report investigated but was never verified. So the individual was never identified, but it was reported and investigated by police.
Right.
So what could that be? You know?
Sasquatch?
Maybe.
No, I'm just. I don't know. It could be.
It just doesn't make sense.
It could be aliens abducting people.
It could be. I got a bit of a, I don't know about a theory on it, but what I'm playing into my book and what I'm having my explanation as. So I will go over that at the end, because the next case I just can't wait to talk about, because this kid was found alive.
Okay.
Which is very rare with missing 411, but it does happen. So, this one, April 10th, 1952. He was 2 years old, so once again, he was playing at a barn near his grandparents' house, and he ended up disappearing, obviously. They couldn't find him once again. But here's the weird part. They found him 19 hours later. It had snowed. It was like a snowstorm before. So they found him 19 hours later, 8 miles straight as the crow flies from where he left or was taken from. So he was found face down in the snow. He was severely dehydrated. He was cold, obviously. He was exhausted. He was suffering from all the exposure. And he survived. He later made a full recovery. Because he was 2 years old, he doesn't have any memory of what happened. He's been interviewed as an adult, but he doesn't have any memory of it. Like, who has memories from whenever you're like 2? So yeah, but the one thing that he did say was a cat scratched me. Now, I couldn't find any confirmation if there were scratches found on him.
Right.
But this trek he took would have taken, this is the biggest, most incredible evidence I've seen of something paranormal going on.
Right.
The terrain that he had to cover to get that 8 miles as the crow flies would have been about 12 miles.
He would have been able to do that. I don't think he would have been able to cover that, that's for sure.
So people who have studied 411 have gone out there and tried to do the trek themselves and found it very difficult for a grown adult to do that. So a 12-mile trek through like fences and fields and snow and like rocky terrain, a 2-year-old.
Yeah, there's no way. So, but there's no explanation. But he was found alive.
He was found alive. Thank God.
That's crazy. Did they check him for any type of implants or like?
What year was this?
Maybe somebody should check him now if he's still alive. We should try to track him down.
Keith Perkins, if you're out there, maybe you should go. If you haven't gotten an X-ray yet, you might want to.
Absolutely.
Just curious. But
yeah, that's crazy. Crazy.
But it was just like and this was out in Oregon, so once again in like
Oregon's beautiful.
Have you ever been? No, but I would love to go. It's on like the top of my states to go visit. I've heard it's just gorgeous.
It is amazing. Has Quinn ever told you about his experience going out to Oregon?
So many times.
Yeah, it was magical.
Yeah,
the most famous story, right, was when Keegan got the what did they call the fireballs? The Indians they would build like a fireball, and they would light it on fire.
This sounds dangerous.
And they would play kickball with it in the pitch black on the mountain where there was no light. And our kids really wanted to play, and I didn't want the kids to play. I didn't think it was safe, and they were not like, no, it's okay, let the kids play. And they were really pretty little, because Michael was 18 at the time.
Did anybody catch fire?
Well, Keegan got a ball to the face. And if I'm not mistaken, the ball was made of chicken wire. The outside and the inside was like doused with, it was like some type of cloth or something that was doused with gasoline or something. And they played kickball out in this, I'm not joking, and Keegan got it directly to the face. He had a scar for a little bit. We thought it was going to be for life, and thank God it wasn't.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not. I was right as the mother to not want my child to play that game.
Yeah, that seems like a good instinct right there.
Yeah, so
I have to call out my mother real quick.
I forget there's a name for it. I forget the name of the sport, but it's horrible. And
fireball, maybe?
It's definitely a fireball, so that could be.
The death ball, we're going to call it that. I was just so fun. I thought this was dangerous, but that's so dangerous.
Yeah.
When I was little, we used to do a bonfire every weekend in North Carolina, and we would take gasoline and draw pictures in the grass and light it up.
Oh wow, that was before gas was $4 a gallon, probably.
Oh yeah, no kidding. So that'd be an expensive. But that was I definitely want to go out to Oregon sometime. It would be so beautiful.
Yeah, you'll have to. We'll have to take you. It's. Yeah, I would love to go again sometime. But yeah, there's probably Bigfoot out there and alien abductions and all kinds of stuff going on. Who knows?
Yeah. So, but like, I mean, any kind of questions you have? Because I kind of went through these cases pretty quick. I do have a lot more details on them.
I think no, but there's a lot. So when you say a lot, have you checked to see how many? Is there an actual number of how many people have gone missing from National Forest?
I haven't.
I would love to do that. I'm going to ask our guy behind the camera to look that up for us. Can you do me a favor and see if there is a number, check Google for us, and see if there is actually a number for how many people are missing from National Forest? And that could just be in the whole world. It doesn't have to be in just North America.
I think it would be happening not just in North America. I just think that's where Paulides' research was based, because probably easier to have access to that information being in the same place. But I think it would be happening all over the world, especially with the next case that we would be talking about in the next podcast. But it takes place in, I believe, Russia.
Okay.
But it's, oh yeah. So let me just make sure, because I want to get this place right. Survival, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I believe it was in Russia. But basically it was 8 or 9 hikers that were very experienced, went out into subarctic temperatures and just had the weirdest things happen to them that were unexplainable by the government. And just to share what the government actually ended up saying over there. Let me see this. Because I want to quote them on this. It was...
Okay, so here we go. The Grand Canyon, it says the High Incident Park. The Grand Canyon National Park, which welcomes millions of visitors each year, historically records the highest number of missing person cases and fatalities, I can't even talk about this cat, sorry, across all parks. The U.S. Department of Interior recorded over 1,100 confirmed missing person reports there between February 2018 and June 2023. That is a lot. That's how many years? That's it for that many years?
Yeah,
between 18 and 23. That's
not
crazy.
A lot of years.
That's crazy.
And a lot of these people go missing near cave systems.
What is that, 15 years? 15?
40 years ago?
Or not, I'm sorry, 18. Oh my God, no, it's less than that. What am I thinking? Like
how many years? What years?
I can't think right now. It's 18 to 23. I'm not even doing math. This is going to be horrible. People are going to...
That's 5 years.
Yeah. Just 5 years.
5 years. That's a lot of people to go missing in 5 years.
5 years. And that's just at one park. That's at the Grand Canyon National Park.
Okay, people. If you don't stay on the trail, it's not going to go well.
A lot of people that want to leave their spouse and they don't want to divorce and split everything equally, they probably take their spouse out to the Grand Canyon on a vacation. And they just, like that one guy tried to do. Remember that guy that took his wife out to the mountain and
Are we talking about Gabby Petito?
I think so. I don't know. There's only one. And then
he
tried to bash her head in with a rock while he was trying to push her off the mountain.
If this is Gabby Petito, then he did bash her head in with the rock.
But she didn't die. No, the woman didn't die. Yeah, and it's crazy. So people do that, and spouses do that because they do not want to divorce people and split half of everything. There's
reasons that people go missing in parks that are obviously explainable, but
I
it's crazy
to know
there's
worldwide.
even a percentage
Did you ask
of those
worldwide though? I want to know what that number is worldwide. I want to know how many, if that's just one park.
Yeah, that's...
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine. Like, it feels like they'd have searchers going out all the time.
Yeah, probably. And you know what else? I would think, and this is just obviously hypothetical, I don't really, but if it were aliens that were abducting people, it would make sense they would do them in national parks because there's a lot less chance of anything being seen.